Hey everybody, it's me Laura, and today we're going to be going into my segmented petal canes again. Now I know this is the third part, but I wanted to go ahead and really expand on this one. So I'm going to show you a bunch of different segmented combinations that you guys can try and enjoy. So I'm using my purple and white. I wanted to go ahead and show you guys right off the bat how I did my segmented cane. This is kind of a little bit more of a refresher right here, where I'm taking my two colors, my purple and my white, and we're going to go ahead and make a Skinner blend out of this. And then once I have that Skinner blend, we're going to go ahead and do a fan fold, and then wrap that fan fold into some black clay, which will be done on a number 2 or 3 setting, especially if you've got mainly a main stump. It really depends upon how big this thing is. But with this fan fold, you're going to kind of see that, you know, I don't always get it like precise. So like the end here, I'm going to have to shave off a little bit because it went caterwonk just a little bit. And so I'm just going to trim off with my blade just the extra bits so I could get a nice square fan folded cane. Now this thing was pretty big. I want to say it was about 1.5 inches tall, which is pretty tall. And then I decided, because it's so tall, I brought in my acrylic roller here and decided to reduce this down. Now this is where it really turns into that stump now. So once I get it into a stump or into a kind of a bigger cane, you know, width-wise, I liked it, but I thought, okay, when you get it so tall, when you have it where it's like, to me, over 1 inch, if it's over 1 inch tall, I like to cut it in half. Because to me, the shorter the cane is, the easier it is to manipulate it. Right here, again, I'm bringing in that black, just like I said I was going to do. Bring in the black. This was done on a number 2 setting, and I'm just wrapping this up. And then once it's wrapped up, we're going to go ahead and put in some registration marks on both, I want to say on both the light end and the darker end on the purple end. Once we have those registration marks in, then we'll go ahead and reduce this cane down. And I'll take my acrylic roller, and eventually here I'll just go ahead and I'll flatten it out with those registration marks, I want to say facing me. It's kind of hard to describe it, but facing me, and then we'll cut it into 4 pieces. Okay, our first segmented canes, or the combination, is where all of the colors are going to be running pretty much in the same direction. So I've got like a white to purple, white to purple, white to purple. So 4 of those colors all running in that same direction. And I'm pinching the very bottom of where the white is. So the white is going to be our point, and the purple is just going to be our nice bulbous other side. So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting pieces of this cane, and I'm going to create the little flower that goes with it. Now, the older version of this particular video, this is the part I did show. So once I get this particular flower done, all the rest will be a little bit different. Okay, now that we did that particular cane, right here we're just going to take another piece of this cane, and I'm pinching to a point the colored end. And that's one part that I did not show last time. I thought I really should show this part because it gives you a better sense as to what it's going to look like. I mean, the one thing about doing these canes is that unless you've got a sample in front of you, you really can't see it. So in my mind, I thought I really needed to go back in and do this right. So that's why right here you're seeing me put the color end towards the center of the flower, and it really can make a dramatic difference from its counterpart. I mean, you could either have the white part on the outside or the color part, and it's truly just up to you. All right, so right here is the sample of what I did in doing this particular combination, but let's go ahead and move on and I'll show you a few more. Our second set of segmented combinations here is where I'm going to be flipping some of this cane around. So you can see I've got the white down and I've got the two center ones where the white part is up. So this is another combination, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece, and you can really see how this thing conforms now. And it gives you a very different look when you do this. So right here, when I started creating these, I also found that you get a little bit of a different pattern when you create its flower. So that's what I'm going to show also in each of these little segments. I'm going to cut the piece where it's just where it hasn't been, made into a point, and then we'll go ahead and I'll make the point on the cane, cut the pieces, make the flower, and you'll see the different combinations or the different flowers that I come up with. All right, so my first pointed petal piece or segmented petal here is going to be with the color on the inside. So the two center segments will have the color kind of in a point, and then the white will be on the outside in the bulbous area, and then I'll have the two outer ones where they're going to be pointed down with the white. So this gives you a really, to me, I love this particular cane. Oh my goodness. Mainly just because you get all these different color combinations. You're like, oh, I should try it in red now, and purple and blue and green, and I didn't even try it with just other. Can you just imagine doing this with a Skinner blend of different colors other than just white? I figured I wanted to do this with purple and white because this way I'd have a really dark color and a really light, so I could see the dramatics when you do it. But when you bring in other color combinations, it can get so much fun in here. I'm telling you, I love it. Okay, so my second combination is really going to be putting the point on the other side. So in other words, the white is going to come into a point and the color is going to go up into a bulbous area. So this is why, and you're going to notice too, this cane looks a little bit different. My clay was not probably as conditioned as it should have been, but I still thought, no, at least you have a guide to go by. And that's the main thing here. You have a guide to go by to see that, oh, look at that. The color really gives a different look other than just having the white in the center. So that's why I decided to go ahead and do these particular segmented petal canes. So it gives you a little bit of a guide where I take the guesswork out of it for you. So you can go ahead and do this confidently, knowing that you're going to get a certain look and you're not going to be disappointed in what that look is going to be, even when you change the colors up. So here's my second set of combinations with their flowers, and you could tell here I made it so that I went from the rounded cane to the pointed cane, and you could really tell the difference. Okay, so the third set of the segmented combinations is one where it's really just side by side. So you take two of them that are similar. So you have the purple and the white going in one direction, and then you take the other two and have them go the opposite direction. Once you have this, if you want to go ahead and put a registration line, and I should have said that with the others, you can go ahead and do so. But since I did the registration line earlier, it really isn't necessary. But just an FYI. Anyways, I'm cutting off the end there, and I'm just going to cut that slice, and you get a good idea then what you're looking at. This is kind of a neat one. I really do like it. And from here, you just, because of the way it's set up, there's not really any major difference. How do I put this? So what I mean is that when you go ahead and cut the slices from one of these, from this particular cane, for instance, okay, there wasn't a lot of difference in the flower type that you got at the very end. There were a couple of these different combinations that I had done where I made them into the flowers. I thought, oh no, this flower looks way different from the next one, and so on. So I got, like, in a couple of these different combinations I'm doing, I got like 4 different types of flower. This one was not necessarily like that because it was just a side by side and there wasn't a lot of difference in the look. I only got really 2 different types. But when I put this together, like right here, oh my goodness, this thing looks like a bow. I love that. Absolutely love it. So I'm just going to go ahead and say again on this third segmented petal cane combination, I loved it. And it was just because this one they both look like bows. These flowers look like bows. They don't even look like flowers. It looks like a single type loop going on that first flower, which is actually the second one here. And then the other flower looks like it's a double kind of ribbon that's coming together. Okay, so our fourth segmented petal combination to me is the most busy. Oh my goodness. One segment goes one way, one goes the other. One goes one way, one goes the other. So I have to say, because it's so busy, when you go to make the flowers, you almost can't tell which one's which because it's just so busy. You wouldn't think you would get that in doing this particular combination, but it definitely turns out to be that way. But from here, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys watch my hands talk as I finish up making this cane and creating the flower types that you get from them. Okay, so this is the results in the fourth segmented petal combination. And I put the two petals together just in front of the flower to give you an example of what direction I was dealing with. So when the petals came together on the first set, you'll notice that the white and the purple meet. They're going the same direction. Whereas the next one, it's like the white comes down to the purple, and then the next petal, it's where the purple is on top going down to the white. So this gives you an idea, but they're so similar in style, it's really very hard to tell almost which one you have. Okay, so this fifth segmented color combination, or I should say petal combination, was one that I really didn't think it was going to look right, but it did have its own effect. And all you're doing is you're taking three of them, you're having the colors go all one way, and then you're flipping one on the end. And I really didn't think it was going to be that much of, a really great pattern, but it kind of surprised me because it almost looked, oh, I don't know what to say, wispy. It's just very hard to describe some of this, but it looked really different from the other combinations I got, and I was really surprised by that. I didn't think it was going to be that different. And it kind of turned out to, like I said, it surprised me. But anyway, I went ahead and I created a point with most of the white at that point, and then the one that would be going up into the more bulbous end. From there, I just went ahead and created my petals, and you've been noticing with all of these flowers, there's 6 petals. You can combine these things where you can have more than 6. It's totally up to you. And along that regard or that thinking process, you might even decide that let's go ahead and make one cane from one of the segmented, combinations, and then take another one from one of the other segmented combinations and put them together. You could get some really interesting flower types in just doing that alone. But again, I'm going to go ahead and let my hands talk as I create from this 5th set of segmented petal combination. So from this fifth segmented petal combination, I discovered that there were actually 4 different flower types I could get from it. And it really was that combination of where you're trying to do either purple on the outside or purple on the inside at the point. And then of course the offset of where you have purple to white, where each petal would come together and it would either mirror it or not. Okay, so now we're at our 6th and final set or segmented petals combination that we're going to do. And this one to me is my favorite. Aside from, well, I liked the 3rd type also, the bow type, but I love this particular combination. What you're doing is you're having 2 of the segments running the same way, and then the next one will be opposite of that, and then the 4th one will be the same as the first 2. And the interesting combination on this one is that that middle segment seems to just tuck in, and it creates such an accent that I absolutely love it. It's hands down my favorite. Every time, I look at this and I'm like, oh, this is my favorite one. I want to do this all the time. And it just gives me such wonderful look when it comes to creating flowers in this particular segmented petal type. Okay, so the purple on the outside going into a white colored point is really pretty cool. But the way this particular next one worked out, it was almost like it was 3-dimensional even though it was a cane. I don't know how else to describe it, and a lot of it was because that center segment, which is going the opposite direction, it just changed the whole ball game, where it was like, that is really dynamic when you put it up against the other segments. Okay, so because of this particular sixth set of segmented petal combination, I did get 4 different types of flower out of it, and I really loved, oh, like I said, this is one of my favorite, if not the favorite, that I love out of all of them. What can I say? Anyways, this was so much fun, and the dynamic was so intense. I loved it. So here I have a few examples of the end result in creating my segmented petal cane in the many different combinations. You can use this, and then you can always go back to the diagrams in each segment and use them for study and reference. Also, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I'm always wondering what you're thinking. Otherwise, I am sending out my biggest hugs to each of you, and I hope you have a fantastic day.